much more difficult to solve. I solved every one of them, and we're going to get the other one done too. But it turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. And it'll get done or they'll be held to pay. But because they're losing 6 to 7, it used to be 5. I used to tell you 5. Now it's almost 7. I guess 7,000 people last week. 7,813 people, young soldiers died. Russian and Ukrainian, not American soldiers. But it's a shame. It's just, you know, they're human lives, and I want to see it stop. But General Kane's done a fantastic job. And again, defeated ISIS, which they said would take a long time. And it didn't take a long time at all, and did other things that people said really couldn't happen. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest soldiers in the world. Dan, say a few words, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a true honor for me today to represent the incredible men and women of America's Joint Force. Today and every day, the 2.8 million servicemen and women stand ready to fulfill our sacred duty to protect America at home and abroad. As the President said, America's military is the single most powerful fighting force in the world. The mission you and the Secretary have given us is clear and unambiguous to deliver peace through overwhelming strength. And I remind everyone that the U.S. military can reach any adversary at the time and place of our choosing. Service to this nation is an incredible gift, and we're grateful and honored every day to do so. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor to sign this. And we will do that right now. I think that's a big one, I'll be honest. That's a big one.
It's a big one, Mr. President.
Do you have any questions on this subject? We're going to be discussing the G20 in a couple of minutes, but yes, please.
Mr. President, what gave you the idea for this rebrand? And question for you, the newly minted Secretary of War. What message does this send to our enemies, to our allies, to the American people? And again, what gave you the idea for this rebrand at this moment in history, sir?
I think it sends a message of victory. I think it sends really a message of strength. We're very strong. We're much stronger than anyone would really understand. And again, you know, having the great equipment, we have just so much better. You look at all of the, just any of it, submarines as an example. We're 20 years ahead of anyone else. Nobody even compares. And I let a lot of this happen in my first term. You know, we totally rebuilt our military. Then, of course, you had that catastrophe in Afghanistan where they gave up a lot of the equipment, but a relatively small amount, but a lot. There was a lot in Afghanistan. I think it was the most, General, I'd say it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, the way that happened, the way they went to the wrong airport. They should have gone to Bagram, not the local little airport with no security, with tight quarters, etc. You know what happened. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, frankly. That was under the Biden administration. It was terrible. And we were going to be leaving, but we were leaving with strength and dignity. We were going to keep Bagram because Bagram's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We're going to have that all to ourselves, a big, beautiful place built many years ago for money that today would be the equivalent of, you know, many, many billions of dollars. You couldn't build it. The longest runways, the most powerful runways in terms of load capacity. And we just walked away from it. So stupid. And they were fools. The people were fools. No, we have the strongest military, and I think that indicates we have the strongest military. And you know, we had it, and we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything before, and as I said, we won everything in between. And we were very strong, but we never fought to win. We just didn't fight to win. We didn't lose anything, but we didn't fight to win. We could have won every one of those wars quickly, but they went a route that I think was probably politically correct, but not correct for our nation. So I think the Department of War sends a signal. Yeah, please.
Mr. You alluded to this a little while ago, but you said that this rename is a, quote, a good reflection of where the world is at right now. how do you square naming it the Department of War when you've been pursuing peace in so many different parts of the world?
Well, I think I've gotten peace because of the fact that we're strong. If we weren't strong, those 7 deals I told you about, the 7 wars, a majority of them wouldn't have happened. They happened for 2 reasons: trade and our strength. Those are the 2 reasons. And probably strength may be more important than trade. So if we, I was very proud of all those wars. Those were wars that could not be settled, and I settled all of them. And we'll get the other one settled also.
Can I-
That'll get settled. But without the strength, we wouldn't have settled any of them. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, is it your expectation that Congress will codify this name change in the law?
I don't know, but we're going to find out, but I'm not sure they have to. We're signing an executive order today, but we're going to find out. We're going to see. If they do, we're going with it, and we're going with it very strongly. There's a question as to whether or not they have to, but we'll put it before Congress.
Do you know how much this rebrand will actually cost? And are there any concerns about, the Pentagon's mission of
Yeah.
actually cutting back on spending?
But
and
not a lot.
waste?
We know how to rebrand without having to go crazy. We don't have to recarve a mountain or anything. We're going to be doing it not in the most expensive. We're going to start changing the stationery as it comes due and lots of things like that. We're not going to be doing things like have been done in the past when they changed the name of forts that shouldn't have been changed. Those names of the forts should not have been changed, at least for the most part. And as you know, many of them have been changed back already. At the request of the communities, every one of those communities said, we want our name back, like Fort Bragg as an example. The people in that community wanted that name back. They refused to call it anything else but Fort Bragg. So we're not going to be spending very much money on that. Yes,
Sir,
please.
when you spoke with the Europeans and Zelensky earlier this week, did you preview this for them, and did you say what security guarantees they might be involved in?
This is nothing to do with anybody but the United States of America, the people of America. This is who I talk to about changing a name. It's a very important change because it's an attitude, and we know how to win. We've been winning, and we're going to win like you've never seen. Wait till these factories start to open up that are being built all over the country. You're going to see things happen in this country that nobody expects. We have over $17 trillion in investment coming into the country. We never did anything even remotely close to that. No other country has either, by the way. So you're going to see things that are pretty amazing. But it's really about winning.
And what about the security guarantees aspect of that with Ukraine, sir?
Well, we'll work that out. We'll help them. Look, we want to save a lot of lives, so we'll do something with that. I think people expect that. We'll help them. Europe will be first in by far, and they want to be first, and they want to see it end. Europe wants to see it end, and it'll end. It'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together. You watch.
Can you
Yeah,
ask
did you
him
want
about the
something,
Google
right?
ruling?
So, right here.
Yeah, behind you, please. Yes.
Yes, sir. You haven't been shy about taking bold, decisive, offensive action to protect American values. Strikes in Iran, the strikes this past Tuesday on the positively ID'd Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists. Is that going to be a critical function of the Department of War moving
It
forward?
depends
Why
on
is
the
that-
individual instance, We don't want drugs coming in from Venezuela or anybody else or any place else, and we'll be tough on that. We don't want human trafficking. We don't want to see people coming in where they open their prisons from all over the world and they dump their prisoners into our country, which is what they did in the Biden administration, where they took insane asylums and places that held people that were seriously mentally ill, mentally incompetent, mentally dangerous, and they dumped those people into our country, and we're trying to get them out now. What they've done, what the Democrats and Biden have done to this country will go down in infamy. What they have done to our country, and especially that. They created the worst inflation we've ever had. That's nothing compared to what they did with the people in our country right now. And we're getting them out, and it's not easy when you have the liberal judges destroying our country. But we've won them all. We've won it all, ultimately won it all. Hard process. It should be easier. We know who it is. We know exactly who we're looking for. We had 11,000 murderers dropped into our country. We've gotten a lot of them out. Or in some cases, they're so dangerous, we were afraid to get them out because they'd come back in. But for the last 120 days, 0 people came in. Can you imagine? This is me speaking, but these are figures developed by, they say, a pretty liberal group of people. They admit that 0 people came into our country. Think of that. A year ago, it was millions of people were coming in, millions. They were coming in, you could look at them and you could say, big trouble. And that's what we have in our country. But we're getting them out, and despite that, we're doing really well. Yeah,
Mr.
please.
President,
Brian?
can you comment on the recruitment levels across the military
Yeah.
branches?
Well, the recruitment's the most exciting thing. So when I was campaigning for the office, numbers were coming out that the recruitment numbers, generally, you could speak to it better than anybody, the recruitment into the military, all branches of the military, and police and firemen and everything else. Anything having to do with like a public service, the numbers were horrible, record-setting bad. And now they're record-setting good. We're setting every record every month for recruitment. We're packed in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. My beautiful I love Space Command. I see Space Command, but Space Force has been, we've got a waiting list of people wanting to go in. A year ago, especially a year and a half ago, you know, when I took the lead in the polls, which was very early, it really helped with the recruiting. And when I won from November 5th on, it's been amazing. And over the last 4 or 5 months, we're just packed. It was very hard to get police officers. Now the departments are loaded up. Everyone wants to be a policeman or a woman. So it's been a great thing. General, do you want to talk about that?
Sure, as you said, serving our nation is an incredible gift that we give, and the reward on that gift pays back exponentially year over year. And I think the young people of America are seeing the importance of service, and whether it's in any of our armed services or in local police, fire, or rescue, service is an important thing that I personally encourage, and I know everyone else in government service sees that same reward.
On Pete, on recruitment?
I was down at Fort Benning, the newly properly renamed Fort Benning yesterday, watching Army basic training, and they're so full they can't barely handle the throughput. It is truly historic across all the services, as you said. It's been a surge into the, I was going to say the Defense Department, but I will say the War Department. And that you might almost call it a vibe shift, an attitude shift, a feeling that the country is back, that service is back. And there were military families last year, Mr. President, that said, I don't know if I can recommend, I wrote a book on this, I don't know if I can recommend service to my son or daughter, given what's been done to our military. You heard it over and over and over again. And I hear from those same military families right now, sir, and they're saying, I recommend to my kids that they go into this department, this Pentagon, under this commander-in-chief, who they know you'll have their back and they want to serve. So it is historic, and it's the biggest reflection of how motivated Americans are by your leadership, sir.
You know, really, it's nothing more than spirit, love for the country. I guess the esprit de corps, as they say, you have more of that than we've had maybe ever, frankly. But to see a turn over a period of less than a year, I would say, but to see a turn, nobody wanted to go into the military. Now everybody wants to go into the military. Jennifer, you wanted?
Yeah, there's some new reporting on North Korea and this Navy SEAL incident in 2019. Can you say if the administration has engaged with North Korea on that incident since it happened recently?
Yeah.
And then can you share some recollections?
I don't know anything about it, no.
Can you,
I could look, but I know nothing about it.
Can you confirm that it happened?
I don't know anything about it.
In Georgia, with the arrest of some workers, construction workers at the plant, have you heard any feedback from Hyundai, from
I
South
just heard
Korea?
about that a little while before the news conference, and I would say that they were illegal aliens, and ICE was just doing its job. But I know nothing about the instance. It happened a little while ago.
There has been some pushback on that, though, from South Korea already, and of course, they pledged to invest $150 billion in the U.S. when they were just here, last week. Are you concerned at
Well,
all?
they have the right to sell cars and things in our country. It's
Yeah.
not like a one-sided deal.
Are you concerned at all about, your immigration agenda potentially clashing with these economic goals?
Well, we want to get along with other countries, and we want to have a great, stable workforce. And we had, as I understand it, a lot of illegal aliens, some not the best of people, but we had a lot of illegal aliens working there. So, look, they're doing their job. That's what they have to do. These are people that came through with Biden, They came through illegally, they came into our country, so we have to do our job.
Mr. President, the now Department of War has been involved in the crime cleanup in DC. You've tasked Congress with proposing and passing a crime bill. What are some things that you would really like to see codified in that crime bill?
Well, I think one of the things is the cashless bail. It's killing it. When that came out, originally when that came out the first time, that's when you saw the real big crime start to happen. Cashless bail, what a disaster that is. You murder somebody, you don't have to put up bail, and you go out in the street and you murder somebody else. That's what's happened. It happens so often. And that's one of the things. And other of the things you're reading about, you know, it's just standard, but just a certain toughness. I have to say, one of the elements of fascination for people over the last period of time has been what's happened to DC. So we've gone from one of the most dangerous cities in our country to what they call a safe city. It's a totally safe city. In fact, I set up dinner in Washington, D.C. next week. I wouldn't have done that, to be honest. I would have had an obligation not to do it before I came into office, or even at the very beginning when things were so corrupt and so dangerous out on the streets. So Washington, D.C. has had virtually no crime. We even have a mayor that's admitting to it, and she's a liberal Democrat, in all fairness. She's a person that hasn't gotten exactly over the years, and she said she's never seen anything like it. The most unsafe city in the United States, almost, just about, to one of the safest cities, maybe the safest.
Part of a leadership summit,
Yes.
and we understand you met with him separately. Mr. President, what did you two talk about, and also, did you explore him running for Florida Attorney General?
We didn't talk about that, but he's done a fantastic job. He's respected all over the country, really. He's a leader, and he's done just a fantastic job. We didn't discuss anything having to do with his future. I'm sure he'd be very good at that.
My second question, Alligator Alcatraz, sticking with Florida, a major ruling appeals court blocked a federal judge's order to close it, and it can remain open for now. Your reaction?
I think they've done a fantastic job in building it, the governor and everybody else that's been involved. It's an incredible facility. It's housing people for usually a very short period of time before they get brought back to their countries. As you know, we focus on criminals before we focus on anybody else, and we're taking thousands and thousands of criminals out every month out of our country, some of them murderers. And I think Florida's done a great job by building it, and whether it's Alligator Alcatraz or anything else you want to call it, I was there. I visited with the governor, with other people. I guess Nikki was there. Tom Homan's been there a lot. A lot of people have been there from, it's an amazing facility for what it is. It's not a hotel. It's not supposed to be a hotel, but they've done a great job with it, and I'm very happy with the judge's decision.
You also mentioned Venezuela. I want to ask one more follow-up question on that. On the U.S. strike on a vote tied to a Venezuelan drug cartel, the Maduro regime is pushing back today. In fact, they say the U.S. seeks regime change through military threat. Your reaction to those words, and also, would you like to see regime change in Venezuela?
Well, we're not talking about that, but we are talking about the fact that you had an election which was a very strange election, to put it mildly. I'm being very nice when I say that. I can only say that billions of dollars of drugs are pouring into our country from Venezuela. The prisons of Venezuela have been opened up to our country. They've taken their prisoners, the worst prisoners, murderers, Tren de Aragua, the worst prisoners that you can ever imagine are now happily living in the United States of America. Now, many of them we've gotten out. It's not easy to get them out because of the liberal system that we're working with in many cases, not in all cases. But millions and millions of dollars and billions of dollars of drugs are pouring out of Venezuela and other countries. Look, China, what they're doing with fentanyl is a terrible thing. It comes through Canada and it comes through Mexico, but a lot of it's coming through Venezuela. Venezuela's been a very bad actor, and we understand that. And when you look at that boat, you see the bags of whatever it is there, those bags were, you know, those bags represent hundreds of thousands of dead people in the United States. That's what they represent. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, your reaction to the jobs report this morning?
Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. We have our great people here, so I'll talk that in a minute. Let's talk about this. We'll give a couple of the, because these two people want to get to work on the Department of War. So let's keep them first.
On Venezuela?
Mr. President, the DOJ is reportedly considering a ban on transgender people owning guns after the Minneapolis shooting. Do you think that they should
Are we
be able to
talking
own
in the
guns?
military?
In general.
Okay, I thought you were talking about in the military.
We already did.
I'll refer to that then differently. Because it's not a military question, I'll be able to pass on that very nicely unless you'd like to talk about it. No, Pete doesn't want any part of that question.
On Venezuela?
Yes,
On
please.
Venezuela?
Mr. President, who do you blame for losing India to China? In your post earlier today in the morning, you did put that out.
I don't think we have. You know, I've been very disappointed that India would be buying so much oil, as you know, from Russia. And I let them know that. We put a very big tariff on India, 50% tariff, very high tariff. I get along very well with Modi, as you know. He's great. He was here a couple of months ago. In fact, we went to the Rose Garden and the grass was so soaking wet. It was such a terrible place to have a news conference. I said, well, let's use a beautiful white stone emblematic of the White House, okay? And it's been very well received. But we had a news conference on the grass. It was my last news conference I had on the grass because everybody sunk in. You probably sunk in. Every reporter out there, they ruined their shoes. We made that change. It's been a really well-received change. Yeah,
Just
please.
follow up, sir.
On Venezuela, you've sent F-35s now to Puerto Rico. You've sent naval vessels into the Caribbean. You're concerned about drugs being illegally sent into the United States. How do you describe this buildup, this situation? Are we headed towards war?
Strong on drugs. We don't want drugs killing our people.
But that,
I believe we lost 300,000. You know, they always say 95, 100,000. I believe they've been saying that for 20 years. I believe we lost 300,000 people last year. I know families that lost their son. Those families will never be the same. I know a family lost a daughter, a beautiful daughter. In fact, it was like she took something that she thought was like a minor deal, and it turned out to be riddled out with fentanyl, the size of the head of a pin, and you're dead. And no, we're stopping the drugs. We're going to save a lot of people. Look, whether it's 100,000, but it's not. It's 350,000 people died last year from drugs. And we're not going to let that happen to this country.
So
think of that. Think if you're in a war and you lose 300,000. We'll lose 600,000 in the, pretty much between Gettysburg and all of that, the Civil War, we lost, what, 600,000. So we're losing half of that every year to drugs. We're not going to do it. We're not going to allow it to happen. You think of the wars. If we lost 600,000 people in a war, but we lose that every 2 years, more than that.
So how should
So it's
Venezuela?
300 to 350,000 people, and when I see boats coming in, like loaded up the other day with all sorts of drugs, probably fentanyl mostly, but all sorts of drugs, we're going to take them out. And if people want to have fun going on the high seas or the low seas, they're going to be in trouble. I will tell you, boat traffic is substantially down in the area that happened. They called it the runway. It's a runway to the United States. And boat traffic is very substantially down on the runway. You can imagine why. I think anybody that saw that is going to say, I'll take a pass. I don't even know about fishermen. They may say, I'm not getting on the boat.
What happens
I'm not going to take a chance.
What happens if Venezuela flies jets over U.S. naval vessels again?
Well, I would say they're going to be in trouble. We'll
What
let
kind of
them
trouble?
know about that. We heard that happen, but it wasn't really over, not like they described. But I would say, General, if they do that, you have a choice of doing anything you want, okay? If they fly in a dangerous position, I would say that you can, you or your captains can make the decision as to what they want to do, all right?
Sure.
Sir,
How close
we
did
have,
they get,
we have
Mr.
one more.
President? You said they didn't go over.
Say it.
How close did they get? You said the planes did not.
Well, I
go
don't want
over.
to talk about that, but if they do put us in a dangerous position, they'll be shut down. Thank you very much, everybody. So we're going to now cover the G20, and I'm going to let these people go back to the Department of War and figure out how to maintain peace. Okay? Thank you very much. Thanks, Pete. Congratulations, General. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Great job.
Sir, just before G20, we do have one more EO
Okay.
for you today. And I should also say that the Department of War EO that you signed was actually your 200th EO since you came
Wow.
back into office on January 20th. That's more than Joe Biden did in his entire term in office, more than Obama did in either of his 2 terms in office. So it's a momentous accomplishment, and congratulations.
That's good, but Biden never signed one.
No,
They
you've
were
done
signed
every
by-
one up in here.
They were signed by the Autopan, right, didn't he? So we really beat him by much more than you think.
This, the 201st executive order, sir, this relates to hostages and wrongfully detained Americans. This provides a new legal mechanism to declare foreign countries to be countries that engage in those sorts of practices and gives your administration powerful tools to get American hostages out. This has been a
Right.
focus of your administration
Yeah.
this time around. Adam Bowler's here, and he's done incredible work already. This will give him even more.
I think it's great, and
more
Adam's
tools.
amazing. So Adam, do you want to describe how many hostages we've gotten out together, you and I, and you and a couple of other people that we know, and
Yes.
me and a couple of other people that you don't know, but we've gotten a lot of hostages. Do you want to describe it?
Mr. President, you brought back 72 hostages since your term. If we compare that to President Biden, he has gotten 20 taken. So he is negative
20 taken.
20 taken.
They don't take our people so often.
So, Mr. President,
That's good.
when we spoke, you said that that was a primary focus, and I'll tell you the job is easy because of you.
And we paid nothing, too.
We pay nothing. We
They
don't
pay 6
exchange.
billion. They always paid 6 billion for
Yeah.
5 people. 6 billion. It was just a number I kept hearing. Not only that, 6 billion plus we'd get like 1 person, and they'd get 6. They got one, the Prince of Doom, they call him. He was the #1 arms merchant anywhere in the world ever. And they got him out, and on top of that, we paid money. So, no, we don't do that. You know, once you pay money, and then a lot of people start disappearing. They start grabbing reporters, too. They think the reporter is going to get a lot of money, and to me, they would. You'll be well taken care of. I better stress that, because otherwise we have headlines. He said this, or he said that. No, I'm not smiling about it. But they would. They'd be grabbing reporters. They'd be grabbing everybody. And especially when you pay the kind of money that Biden and Obama, they used to pay money that was crazy. We don't pay. And if you don't pay, they find it to be not a lucrative business anymore. That's fantastic. Would you like to say something?
Sir, it's really Spihar, Special Envoy Bowler, it's Rick Grinnell, it's Steve Witkoff who brought Americans home. But with this EO you are signing today, you are drawing a line in the sand that U.S. citizens will not be used as bargaining chips, and it provides your Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the same tool set to punish states who take our citizens wrongfully the same way that we can punish those who sponsor terrorists. This is a very significant EO you are signing today, sir.
Thank you, Sebastian. Very good. You're doing a great job, too.
Thank you, sir. And this is your Director for Hostage Affairs at the
Yes,
NSC.
and I hear.
So Julia was seminal as well to all of this.
I heard you're doing unbelievable. Would you like to say something?
Absolutely. It's a outstanding EO, absolutely unprecedented action against those foreign adversaries who would take our people. They now know they are on notice, and it's not acceptable. And if you take our people now, you will pay.
You know, Adam gave up a job where he was making tremendous amounts of money. Big stuff. Top of the line, Wall Street. And he wanted to do this. He wanted to do hostages. I offered him other jobs, too, very big jobs. He said, I was shocked, actually. He didn't want them. He wanted to do hostage negotiation. And pretty amazing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Do you have any questions for them on this very important subject?
I think it shows a lot of your leadership as far as fighting for Americans and fighting for humans. And to think that, you know, Joe Biden went in negative territory.
Oh, he went way negative.
Way negative, and you're actually making progress on this. I think this does send a message to the world that we don't negotiate. We're going to stay strong in that type of what they call business.
One little anecdote that may be of interest. We were told by numerous families who had missing loved ones during the Biden administration that this building, Biden's National Security Council, told those families not to talk about their missing loved ones. to be quiet, not to create any pressure on Biden and on Jake Sullivan, the key propagator of the Russia hoax. This administration has met with those families on a weekly basis.
Great.
People like Adam, yourself, sir, your envoys are doing everything to get every single American home. Not to tell them not to talk about their loved ones, but bring them home.
Well, you know, I can tell you one story that was amazing. A few weeks ago, very little written about it, but there should have been. But it was a very nice gesture. The head of Belarus, who's a very respected man, strong person, strong leader. He released 16 hostages. And John Cole, a lawyer who works for me, a great lawyer actually, one of the greatest lawyers. But John Cole was over there, and he heard that they had hostages. And you know about this. 16 people he released. And I just want to thank the head of Belarus. But while John was over there, they had, I believe, another 1,400 hostages. Now, not from us, from places all over the world. And just pretty tough place, in all fairness. But they had 1,400. And I believe they're going to be releasing a lot of those 1,400. They're not, I think very few of any. We got pretty much ours back. And we didn't pay anything, but I very much gave my respects to the leader of the country, who's, again, he's a very strong man. But he's got 1,400 or 1,500 or a large number, and we're talking about releasing them. Some are political, I guess a lot of them are political. And looks like they're going to be released at some point in the pretty near future. So it's a great thing. They have to respect your country. If they respect you and they respect your country, they release it. If they don't, then you have to pay $6 billion. I mean, $6 billion. Can you imagine that, paying $6 billion?
Kind of related, but not really. But could you comment on Tina Peters, who's been locked up behind bars from Colorado defending the election? I think you put out a truth a couple days ago about it.
We have a wonderful woman who was an election official, and she saw cheating in Colorado, and she viewed it as horrible, and she said, what's going on here? And she went to the machine, and she tried to open to find out whether or not it was cheating, and they went to her, and they said, did you touch this machine? Yes. And they arrested her. They arrested her instead of the people that did the cheating. It's a state charge, so it's hard to do anything with, but we're gonna do something. What they did in Colorado, look, Colorado just went to all mail-in voting. That means they cheat. That's why they lost, that's one of the reasons, but that's a big reason why they just lost the whole Space Command situation that is going to Alabama. But when you have mail-in voting, you have nothing but cheating. But this woman is a real patriot, and they put her in jail for a long time. She's 72 years old, 73 years old, and she wanted to find out. She didn't do anything. She touched the machine. She looked at the machine. She's trying to find out what was going on. And they went and arrested her for doing that. And it was supposed to be the other way around. I'm glad you brought that up. They should let her go. Let her out. Thank you. Yeah, please.
This isn't really a subject that gets talked a lot about, Mr. President, but what about your team's strategy has made them so effective at getting a record amount of these hostages, many of whom have been forgotten about home?
I think they respect us. I think they respect us. They know we're not going to pay. Adam is a great negotiator. Steve Witkoff is a great negotiator. Seb is a great negotiator. They're all smart people. They're a little bit natural negotiators. Some people aren't good negotiators. Nothing you can do about it.
And they're afraid of you, sir.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know. I hope so, or whatever.
We have the best.
I'd like to say respect, but whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I actually say whatever it takes. But we've gotten a lot of people out, and we'll continue. We don't have too many in. How many are you working on right now?
There's not a lot left.
We got most of our people out. We got them mostly back.
Mr. President, do you have an update on the negotiations to release the rest of the hostages in Gaza?
We're in very deep negotiation with Hamas. We said let them all out right now, let them all out, and much better things will happen for them. But if you don't let them all out, it's going to be a tough situation. It's going to be nasty. That's my opinion. Israel's choice, but that's my opinion. You got to let them out. You got 20 plus you have about 38 dead people, young, beautiful, dead people. And I'll tell you, the parents want them every bit as much, almost more, than as if their son or daughter were alive. But you have many dead people that are coming out as part of the deal. It's 20 people, but I think of the 20, there could be some that have recently died, is what I'm hearing. I hope that's wrong. But you have over 30 bodies in this negotiation. Can you believe? I mean, we negotiate for people that are living here. We know that at least 30 people are dead, and we're negotiating to get them out. The parents want them back so badly, as if they were alive. Every bit as much. It's really pretty amazing. It's very sad. I'm in the middle of it. And I put out the other day, I said, we want all 20. We don't want to, you know, I was the one with myself and my people, Steve Witkoff, and Jared Kushner was great on this. But they got a lot of people out. We got almost all of them out. They're down to 20. But Adam, we got like a tremendous number out. But I always said, when you get down to the final 10 or 20, you're not going to get them out unless you're going to do a lot. And doing a lot means capitulation. That's still good either. It's a very tough situation. But I put out the other day, let them all out. Every single one. No more 2s and 1s. We'll give you 1 this week, and in 2 months we'll give you 2 more. And there's negotiation going on right now. Okay.
And real quick, what is the biggest challenge negotiating with Hamas right now? 10 to 20, what do they want to let them free?
Well, they're asking for some things that are fine. Look, you have to understand, you have to remember October 7th. You know, people forget October 7th. It's not an easy thing to forget, right? But people forget, or they maybe purposely forget October 7th. So, you know, you have to put that into the equation very strongly. It's amazing. Some people even deny it. They deny it. They're crazy. But I've seen tape that's as violent as anything that you can imagine. Many of you have seen those same tapes. So you have to put that into the equation too. So it's not an easy situation. It's a tough one. But there are 20 people, maybe a little less, but there are 20 people that we want out. We want the bodies of these parents. They are, I've never seen anything like it. The level of love that they have, they want their children back. And you know, I see demonstrations, big demonstrations in Israel about the hostages, not about the war, about the hostages, which puts Israel in a tough position because, you know, it's tough to prosecute a war when you have people they want the 20 people back. They just want them back very badly, and everything that goes with it. So it's very sad. Thank you very much. We're going to talk now about the G20. I figured we could wrap 2 or 3 up. The last time I took a day off, everybody said bad things happened to me. You know that, Seth? I took 1 day off. I didn't take it off. I was working. In fact, I was here. But I didn't do a news conference, and they said bad things happened to the president.
That's why they're fake news, Mr. President.
It's fake news. You know, if you look, Biden, he had a press conference. He missed it for about a year, right? About a year. And I never saw any stories like that about him. He didn't have, and when he had one, they'd ask him, what flavor ice cream do you like? He'd say vanilla. How many times have they asked him that question? What's your favorite ice cream, sir? Vanilla. Okay, that's enough. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to go through this, but we all have a good time. I only do it for one reason. I think it's good for the country. And we are very transparent. There's never been transparency like we have. There's nothing to hide. So thank you very much on this, Will. Great job. Appreciate it. So we're going to talk about Florida, the great state of Florida now, because it's going to be a very exciting thing to host the G20. And as we celebrate our nation's 250th anniversary next year, the United States will have the honor of hosting exactly that, the G20 summit right here in America for the first time in nearly 20 years. This afternoon, I'm thrilled to announce that the 2026 G20 conference, which will be, I could read off the countries that we're talking about, but you know who they are, I think. Does anybody want me to list them specifically? Jennifer, you're okay? Okay, but will be held in one of our country's greatest cities, beautiful Miami, Florida, where we have the mayor with us, Mayor Suarez. And I want to thank Francis for being here. I thought he might be in this office. You know, he almost got there. There's a couple of votes. Right? A couple of votes. It's not as easy as they think, right? It's not that easy. But he's an amazing guy, very popular in Florida. The agenda for next year's summit is being organized by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who is right here. Hi, Scott. I saw him standing over there, nice, tall, good-looking guy, but he moved very quickly. Carolyn, you did a good job. Does Caroline do a good job, would you say? Yeah? Is she a star? How do you compare her with the last administration's person? No? You don't want to get into that? Yeah, I think we're very happy with Caroline. But Scott Bessent is talking about a good job. He's done a fantastic job, and we're very proud of him. He's very much involved with the G20. And the NEC director, Kevin Hassett, is truly a talented guy. He's certainly being thought of to go to a different position, and we'll find out about that pretty soon. I don't know, would you like to be that? I won't ask you that. I think, who wouldn't want? I think it's the greatest position in the world. You know, you come out, you make a speech, and then you go away for 30 days or 40 days, and you come out, make another speech, the market goes up or down depending on what you want to say. I've never seen an easier position than that. Unfortunately, you need good instincts, so we have somebody in there now that doesn't have them. We call them too late. But it will focus on unleashing economic prosperity by eliminating the burdensome regulations, unlocking affordable energy, and pioneering new technologies. And it's going to be very important. The United States is already leading by example, and America is the hottest country anywhere on earth. We have more being built under construction now than they think anybody that they've ever seen. I mean, literally, some of these places are just really unbelievable what they're building, the size. You know, if you spend $50 million on a shopping center someplace, it's a big building, pretty big building. But when you spend $50 billion on essentially a building, they have buildings going up for $50 billion. They're going to be building their own electricity, and many of them have been given permits already to go, and they're starting construction. Some have started construction quite a while ago, and very early in the administration. We let them do that. You know, we have a grid that's obviously an old grid. It's been around for a long time. We could never handle the kind of numbers that you're talking about in terms of electricity, and we're letting them build their own plants. They build their own plants with their structures. So they build their structure, they build their buildings, and they build an electric producing plant with it, like Con Edison in New York that I grew up with, and like others that make electricity. They make it for New York. These plants will make it for their building, for AI. Then you have a lot of the car plants going up. Most of them won't need that kind of electricity, but they have the right to do that also. So we're allowing companies to build electric plants. They become, essentially, Scott, I guess they become utilities, right? If you think about it. And it's very exciting. We're going to end up with more electricity than China, and it's going to be built at no cost to us. And I'm telling them, build more than you need, and you'll sell it back into the grid. So they'll be able to sell it back into the grid on top of everything else at no cost to the American taxpayer. It's very exciting. And frankly, if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be leading with AI. We wouldn't be probably even doing any AI. It would be 20 years to get an approval. So they're building massive amounts of electricity as we speak. We've eliminated $5 trillion worth of federal regulations, another big thing since I took office. And if you remember the first term, we took out more regulation than any other president in history times. You could add the top 4, and they wouldn't come anywhere close to what we were. That's one of the reasons we had such the most successful 4 years of any president economically, and this is blowing it away. I think this will blow it away. When these plants start to even getting close to opening, I think you're going to see numbers that we've not seen before. And we've increased oil production by more than 300 barrels a day. That's a lot. Blue-collar wages are rising at the fastest. Investment is pouring into the USA. It's going to be over $17 trillion very shortly, and nobody ever thought a thing like that was possible. What made it possible were, number one, they were happy with November 5th. They were happy with the election. And number two, the tariffs are bringing countries in. I mean, it's so vital to our country. It's before the courts now, and I hope we're going to do very well. We had 4 great opinions just come out, as you know, from judges. In a couple of cases, they were Obama-appointed judges that felt they had to do what was right for the country. So I respect that greatly. I respect them for doing it. But we have very strong opinions, and it'll end up going to the Supreme Court. And it's just vital for the country, vital, absolutely. We're at a level that we've never thought we'd be at, and it's because of the tariffs. Countries are pouring into our country because of you avoid tariffs if you build here. If you don't build here, you pay a lot of money. But if you build here, so what people are doing is they're coming in, they're building here. No different than what other countries have done to us. But we have a big advantage over other countries. We have a market that we built up during our 4 years that was amazing. We took a commanding lead during that 4-year period. So it's a very exciting thing, but I look forward to showing our incredible success to the world when we visit Miami next year, and I'd like to ask